Okay, so if arthropods and or arachnids, insects, they can't see very well, how do they make up for something like that? Again, it's a type of sense, you can't see, so then you must be able to tell something about your outer surroundings. What might that be? And what makes up for that? Like, for instance, when we're talking about flies, you really got to be quick. And like, for instance, okay, like for instance, if you have a fly that's on the surface of this computer, you don't, unless you're really, really fast, which I'm not, you don't go across the table surface where the insect is at, do you? You can do one of two things. Either one, go a little above it, or swipe across and then up. Why would that be? Yeah, because of these air currents, okay? So they might not be able to see very well, but they certainly make up for that by sensing their surroundings. And I didn't know this about spider behavior, but why is it much easier, I wouldn't say easier, I guess, but why is it more convenient for mammalian mothers and humans, they're going to be mothers, to, let's say, let their offspring grow as opposed to what you observed with that of spiders? Because what is it that female spiders do? Is it a type of reproduction where the eggs are fertilized inside of them like it is with mammals? Or does it take place outside the body? Say that again? Yeah, it takes place outside. So the female spider lays their eggs, and then it's at that point, I don't know, I think they said there's a special type of pouch that has the male's sperm in there. It's at that point they get fertilized. Then, how does the mother care for her offspring that are developing inside the eggs? They'll wrap it in a spider web. Do they just leave it alone? Or do they take it with them? If you remember from the video. Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe it's kind of hard to visualize when we say take it with them. But how do they have to protect it? But with mammals, those are developing inside of the female, where with spiders and other types of insects, it's developing outside. It's a little more cost. It's a little more difficult, I think, for spiders to do that as opposed to mammals. Well, then it's actually taken with the mother. Although the diet is certainly going to change, and I can't imagine what it is for that of human mothers that have that fetus developing inside of them, but then we're talking about carrying along an extra anywhere from 6 to 10 pounds. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's right in the center of mass. And I can't speak from, obviously can't speak from experience how difficult that would be, getting up and down and moving around. So that's one of the things we say, yep, guys, we lucked out on that one. So anyway, moving along then. So I think we discussed this. Did that video change your perception of spiders, or is it still the same?
Still don't like them. They're so gross, but I understand the spiders.
Okay. I had a former student who said, I get a little nervous reaching into banana boxes now. He graduated a few years ago. I'm sorry? No, I don't know who that is.
When he graduated from there,
Okay.
he taught me Flander for a little bit, and he said when you reach his hand in there, he pull out a spider.
Ooh. That would be a little unnerving knowing what you know now about spiders and where they're found. It would be for me, yeah, most definitely. Okay. So like we said earlier, the female will then store it in a special cavity, and it's not until the female lays the eggs then that they're finally fertilized. So what can you tell me about these appendages? Where are they located? Remember we said spiders technically have 12 appendages. Would these be the first or second set from the front side to the back? Because remember, the legs are actually attached to that of the cephalothorax, okay? So that would put the legs are behind, but then these two sets of appendages are in front. So which one is the most anterior or front? And we have answered that before. The fangs are the first set. What does that tell you about whether you say pedipalps or pedipalps, however you want to pronounce that, would make them the second set. So with that, you could say there's a dual function with these. Obviously reproduction, that's one, but then also holding its prey item in place so it can actually envenomate what it's trying to take in part of its diet. And when we watch a video about venom, there's actually different types of insects. Was it called a spider hawk, maybe? And what it does is it's a type of insect that envenomates a type of prey item. And you could say it kind of like lobotomizes them, kind of makes them turn into a zombie. Then here's the most, you could say, disgusting part about that. They actually lay their eggs inside of its victim, okay? Which is usually in another insect or a spider. So what happens is as those go through the larval stage then, what are them larvae going to do to its zombified victim? Feed upon them. So they actually feed upon them while they're still alive, and then eventually they'll just crawl out of a hollowed out victim, and the cycle continues. One of the aspects I thought would be all right is if there's some sort of predator that we could use to control this with trees. It's called EAB. Those are the abbreviations. You've heard of it before, but you just never heard of it talked about in that fashion. There were countless number of trees that had to be knocked down because of this tiny insect. So EAB. It's green in color. So what's the name of a gem that is green in color? And jade, did you say jade? It might be, I don't know my colors, but I know emerald is green. So there's the E. What type of tree? What would the A be? It's only 3 letters long. Kind of feel like Wheel of Fortune here. After wood burns, it turns to what? Yeah. So emerald ash borer. If there's some sort of predator or bird that could prey upon them, there's people a lot smarter than me that probably were working on that problem and just couldn't find a solution. Because it's really sad to see many, many adult trees that got infected by this little tiny thing. But you also got to take into account when it comes to liability reasons, when that starts to get hollowed out or something to that effect, it starts to damage property. And I don't know if it's cottonwoods. I think they grow pretty quickly, but maybe it's their type of trunk that it's just natural for them, I think, to split, and then, again, property can get damaged, so even though it might look healthy, something that has to probably be knocked down. Okay, so we will wrap this up here to get us back on schedule. I guess we never did fall behind, but we want to try to get through the scorpions, ticks, and mites with this week and get to the crustaceans and then the insects early next week. And then I would be led to believe a week from today we'll have your vocabulary evaluation, which I still need to tell you what coxal glands mean. I will get to that. And then we will start your reviewing as well, because there's no exam over this chapter because it's on your final. We'll have your papers handed out probably a week from today, and you'll have that time to work on it and hand it in. Only 3 more grades this semester. Okay? This one, the vocabulary, 2, your short answer worksheets, and then 3, your actual final. Okay? And for those of you who have wrote down all the phylums that we've discussed so far, you're well ahead of the game in being prepared for this. Okay, so we will start with the ticks and mites tomorrow, and scorpions as well. Okay, so when we talk about arachnids, yes, there are 3. The arachnids would, okay, so these are arachnids. The order is Arachne. So then when we continue with that class, then we get to the order Scorpionida, okay? Pretty simple. And then the 3rd order of the class arachnids is this one, okay? So there's different characteristics on why those animals belong in the same class, but yet differentiate them enough that they belong in different orders. Okay, so that's all I have for today. We'll catch up to you next time.